I was talking to my producer the other day, and we were brainstorming on season 4. So for those of you who are new, there's a whole library catalog of 3 seasons worth of interviews that I've done with aspiring free agents, real free agents, franchise company representatives, visionaries, and founders. And so the other day when we were plotting out season 4, one of the questions that has become an FAQ is, what is the dirty downside? What is the reality of franchising that isn't so pretty? And so we're going to kick off season 4, maybe with a panel discussion or a couple of interviews with franchise attorneys and other people who have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I certainly have. I've lived with, I have invested in the ugly, and was caught short-sighted, really. I just didn't see it coming. And so I want you to know, dear listener, that I am very sensitive to what is transpiring in the world of franchising on an ongoing basis. I appreciate the governance that the Federal Trade Commission puts into place on behalf of franchisees, the individual like you or like me who becomes a franchise owner with any particular system. The Federal Trade Commission requires every franchise company to complete a prospectus. It's called the Franchise Disclosure Document, or FDD, as I call it for short. The Franchise Disclosure Document contains a lot of proprietary, confidential information, financial information, and disclosures about the company, about the individuals who lead that company. And there are also sections in there regarding bankruptcy, litigation, as well as an item that lists the exiting franchise owners, people who have gotten out of the system with contact information. I like to say that if corporate America had to be as transparent as we need to be in franchising, the revolving door would stop. Unfortunately, because we're all humans in business, there are going to be those times that the financial disclosure isn't accurate. There are disclosures for bankruptcy and litigation that are questionable. That item that lists the exiting franchisees with their contact information, you don't need to assume that everybody exited unhappy. For example, I sold my Great Clips a long time ago. I had 5 locations. Someone made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I was listed as an exiting franchise owner. Again, I was happy in my exit, but there are people who find themselves at their wits' end, whether it's a franchisor's fault, it's the franchisee's fault, but then end up exiting that franchise company. I will discuss in greater detail as we get into the next season what all of this means to you, how to avoid pitfalls, what red flags to recognize if there are stinky, smelly things, but you're emotional about a concept and you love it. I need you to be honest with yourself, to take a look at all of the disclosure information and evaluate it honestly based on your risk tolerance. There are 19 states, I believe, that require at the Attorney General level that the franchise companies register with the state and get approval to sell their licenses. There are other states that do not require that registration. I always like it when I'm working with a state that does require the submittal of the franchise disclosure document to the Attorney General's office for approval. I'm not in favor of big government, but in some cases, it really is great to have another stamp of approval, another layer of eyes and professionals who are looking at the opportunity and not allowing stinky, smelly concepts to come into their state. We cannot avoid every pitfall. We cannot predict human behavior that may go rogue, meaning the franchisor does something. They've got employees at the corporate office who are not upstanding. They may take a blind eye and not exit franchise owners who are outside of the boundaries of the system. It seems silly that they would let somebody come in and purposefully disrupt the integrity of a system, but it does happen. So I'll be exploring all these things in the next season. And I hope that this little teaser for this week, when I don't have an actual interview to upload, we're taking a break right now, but I wanted to share my thoughts about what's coming this season. I hope that you're excited about joining me as we move into some of the nuts and bolts. And it's all not just rose-colored glasses on this side of the fence here. We're going to have some interesting conversations with real people and their challenges, but also their successes.